Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Caravan of Garbage, where, yes, we're going to be going through the first 3 Jurassic Park movies, aren't we, Mason?
Wah, wah, wah. Wah, wah.
That's right.
Wah, wah. We can't obviously use the licensed music.
No.
They'll come for us.
But before we get into all things Jurassic Park, Mason, say that dumb thing you think about Jurassic Park. Say the thing, Mason, that is obviously wrong.
The dumb thing that I say, James, is that as far as I'm concerned, every movie in the Jurassic Park / World franchise is of roughly the same quality. Now, bearing in mind, I haven't seen some of them.
That's ridiculous.
But I stand by the thing.
But you haven't seen 2 or 3.
Correct,
Which
yes.
we'll be covering.
That being said, I have seen, of course, the most recent 2 Jurassic World movies.
Yes.
And I cannot recall a single thing that happens in any of them. But
Right.
it's interesting, though, isn't it?
I
that
think
this
so.
one is full of wonder and magic or what have you.
Yes.
But the Jurassic World movies are like, what if we put a Margaritaville in? You know, I think that's a fascinating, people are like, okay, well, actually, the Jurassic World movies, they're just completely, they're absolutely nothing because it's just a boring park or whatever. Yeah, but that's
It's kind of the point, yeah.
it's heavy-handed satire, and I love that, James.
Oh.
I remember the thing, Margaritaville.
There you go. You remember the thing. Well, it's interesting you say that because Steven Spielberg, in getting this movie, he knew that Michael Crichton was working on this book, which came out, I think around 1990. And he was like, my God, I need this book. Not just the book, I want to make a movie of the book.
Steven, you can stop at the airport and you can get this book.
So Michael Crichton was paid $2 million for the rights to the novel before it was published. James Cameron was reading it and was like, I want this, right?
Oh, this is
Give me it.
This is kind of the director equivalent of Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger fighting over various roles.
Yes, like Stop on My Mom Will Shoot.
Is it going to be revealed that James Cameron actually didn't want Jurassic Park because he thought dinosaurs was stupid, and in the end he's like, ha 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 ha. Enjoy throwing $2 million down the toilet, Spielberg.
No, not at all. He wanted to make a version that was more frightening, and I guess also in line with a couple of things. One being Aliens, which he also directed, and also the book is quite dark,
and dull.
I don't think so. Have you read it?
Yeah.
I like it.
There's a lot of computer diagrams.
Well, that is certainly true.
Well, what's fascinating about it, because this is, I believe, the second Michael Crichton-based franchise we have discussed, because we've also talked about
the movie Congo in our normal everyday lives.
Yeah, we talk about that constantly. But on this video series, we've also talked about the movie Westworld.
Westworld.
Which is also a Michael Crichton creation.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think what we learned from that one is that while Michael Crichton is great at inventing incredible worlds, he's perhaps not great at putting a narrative through that world.
Sure.
He needs a director like Spielberg to just really, really, really ramp up that tension, you know?
And the magic. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So one of the things, and James Cameron has even admitted to this not begrudgingly, he seemed very happy to say this, was that Spielberg was the right choice for this because Spielberg came at it from his perspective from when he was a kid of this like wonder and awe of dinosaurs and, the Ray Harryhausen era and King Kong and all of those things. The weirder and dark stuff was mostly taken out. What I think it does really well, though, to kind of sell that, well, there's obviously the dinosaurs, but it's also that every single person...
I didn't see any dinosaurs.
Okay, fair enough. Is that every single main character in this, despite their skepticism at various points through the movie, they do have moments of like, oh my God. Like even the lawyer's like, from his perspective, it's like, it's obviously a money-making thing, but even he's taken aback by the awe of it.
Even a lawyer, a man with lizard DNA.
Yeah, that's right.
Is filled with awe and wonder at the sight of these dinosaurs. What's interesting, because I haven't seen this in a number of years, some of the stuff that jumped out at me, first of all...
The dinosaurs. They go, rah.
I didn't see any
Didn't see
dinosaurs.
any?
But that Hammond wants Grant and Sadler to visit Jurassic Park so they can like sign off on the park's authenticity for the investors.
William Sadler, yes.
Which is fascinating because these days they'd be like, we don't need accuracy.
No.
Who cares?
Yeah, shut up. What are you saying right now? And also, I love it that, he brings them in.
These days they're just bringing influencers, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Beast to be there and be like, I'm going to create a real life Jurassic Park. And they'd be like, Mr. Beast, you're already in a Jurassic Park.
This is
We've
happening.
done it already.
I think one of the things that's really great about this movie is that it's kind of cast like Star Wars. Like you've got like Richard Attenborough, he's your old school kind of British actor. But everyone else is not unknown, but kind of, Jeff Goldblum's in The Fly, Sam Neill was in various projects, you know what I mean, prior to that.
We've caught you attempting to think of an Australian or New Zealand movie and you can't do it.
The one where he's blind. The one where he's blind, Mason. Or maybe Hugo Weaving's blind.
That's proof.
That
Hugo
might be
Weaving is then
It's
that
a Hugo
movie.
Weaving movie. I'm right. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Now, there's a couple of reasons I think this works. One, because it's cheap, which means you can, you bring the budget right down. Apparently, they wanted Kurt Russell initially for Alan Grant, or he was one of the many names, and he wanted an exorbitant fee, and they were like, no, absolutely not.
Because he's got that Disney blessing,
Yeah, he does. That's a fun fact people should look up. Or here it is on the screen, just quickly. You missed it. So, them being relatively unknown, I think works. As opposed to like getting big name actors to run around and be like, I'm a paleontologist. You're like, you're not a paleontologist. You're Meg Ryan or whatever. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
Who's a famous person.
In that era, she was very famous.
That's right. Still famous, Mason. Here's something that's fascinating to me. One of the criticisms of this movie at the time was, and this quote is from Variety, but there's...
It'll be roughly the same quality as its sequels?
No, Mason. Yeah, this quote is from Variety, and there's a bunch of others that are pretty much along these lines, that the characters are one-dimensional. On first viewing, I think all you would take away from this was, man, those dinosaurs, hey? But there are so many good... character moments in this that have become more iconic over the years. Little laughs, little quips.
Ellie Sadler is sassy.
It's Sattler, by the way.
It's Sadler.
It's Sattler.
Oh, well. Ian Malcolm is horny.
Yes.
Alan Grant takes a huge amount of glee frightening and traumatizing children, and he does it the entire time.
He certainly does, doesn't he?
Whether it be threatening a child with a claw or pretending he's being electrocuted and leaving them alone in a park filled with dinosaurs, he'll do it.
He'll do it.
He loves it.
Yeah. And speaking of the park, one of the things I love about this movie is that it never feels like a safe place. For one, just look at all those 1990s computer interfaces, and I'm like, oh no, I remember stuff like this. Just not good to navigate.
That was your fear, was it?
That was my fear.
Not that you're stranded on an island with dinosaurs.
No.
You wouldn't get internet access.
I'd see that weird floating park system where you gotta lock and unlock the doors, and I'm like, none of this is labeled. It's just all 3D boxes. I'm flying through space.
Oh, the worst. I mean, just a nod to what people thought future computers would be at the time. The flying through boxes, the turning DNA with virtual reality gloves.
Oh, yeah. Love all of that.
Beautiful.
But even things like there's no seatbelts on the cars. The dinosaur embryos.
There's no bloody seatbelts in life, let me tell you that much.
That's very true, except for in cars. But
there's tons, yeah.
Yeah. There's even spelling errors on the dinosaur embryos. Now, that's probably like a mistake on the production side, but I like the idea of just being like, who cares? You know what I mean?
Engineers can't spell.
Yeah, and it's also, it's a shoddily and quickly made park. Like, it's poorly designed.
It's interesting that right at the start of the movie, they're trying to get a raptor into its cage.
Yeah.
And in order to get that raptor in the cage, you have to get one guy to stand precariously on top of the cage and open a gate while it's just wobbling and the dinosaur's trying to slash at you.
Yeah.
What an incredible system.
I agree. So I wanted to talk about this system and in particular the character of Dennis Nedry, who people refer to as a villain because of his villainous activities.
Sure.
But I would argue that he's just a man who was severely underpaid. So the background of this character in the movie is...
And they keep calling him fat.
And they keep saying that, and it's rude. Don't do that.
At one point, all right, I mean, it's rude, but also there is a great line where Hammond at one point is like, where's Nedry? Check the vending machine.
Check if he's stuck in the vending machines like Homer Simpson. So John Hammond's company, InGen, they held a bidding war for the position of lead programmer, right?
Okay.
So Nedry won this. And upon being introduced to his position on Isla Newbar, he found that he had severely underbid on the job, and there was just an immense amount of technical issues and all this crazy programming that he hadn't anticipated. And it's mostly him and Samuel L. Jackson who's just punching darts the entire time. Great cigarette in mouth acting, by the way. Some of my favorite work.
Great cigarette in mouth acting. What I loved about it is that it was a abnormally subdued performance by Samuel L. Jackson for a bit, but you cannot hold him back too long before he just explodes into full Samuel L. Jackson at some point.
You're absolutely right. So yeah, this unexpected larger workload and then his low salary, that's the reason he went out of his way to kind of get paid properly. And I think...
By potentially getting everybody killed.
Yeah, give him more money. I mean, yeah, he's not a great guy, but what are you doing? Spared no expense. He keeps saying that, but it's just, you look around and it's just not true. Why are there like 8 staff? You know what I mean?
Great point.
There's like a lot of scientists and then like 8 blokes just being like, this is fucked. This is out of control.
Spent a lot of money and time on that platform that the park guests turn on so they can see scientists at work. Not a lot on programming safety features, hey.
I want to talk about bringing dinosaurs to life. Not literally, Mason. Ask me if they can make a Jurassic Park now.
Can they do it?
No, Mason, don't be an idiot. We're obviously not there yet.
Oh, my sense of wonder.
I do want to say, though, you know the bit where everyone's like, you shouldn't do this. This is a bad idea. Nah, 100% do it. I don't care. Just do it. Put some good fences up. Maybe a moat. Don't, alter their DNA because, they'll alter it back and then they can breed. Just, neuter them with big,
bolt cutters.
Yeah, bolt cutters. That'll do it. Wow. It'll be fine. Don't even worry about it. But anyways, to bring them to life, there's a few things at play here. A lot of things, actually. I feel like it's the culmination of old and new technology just working in perfect harmony. So yeah, there were the Stan Winston suits, like the Raptor suits, for example. There's people hunched over in those, very uncomfortable, but they're very realistic. There's an enormous T-Rex rig that could bend and snap really, really quickly. It got bogged down with water at one point because, the scene in the rain, so it would jutter. And people were like, very nervous situation.
Had to get a crew member to squeeze it out.
Yes. Well, they were coming in just hitting it with towels, trying to dry it off. So they actually initially got Phil Tippett, who came in to do Go Motion, which is an advanced version of stop motion, right? And he hired a whole team to complete the 50 shots that were required. And if you see it, yeah, it's incredible, right? But Steven Spielberg was like, this is too jerky. I'm not really sure this is the way to go. So a couple of guys, Steve Williams and Mark A.Z. Dipp, were hired just originally create motion blur for the stop motion dinosaurs, so you get rid of some of that jank. And they were expressly forbade from developing a computer generated T-Rex or anything like that.
Interesting.
So they did it anyway. They put it up on a monitor. Kathleen Kennedy walked past and
Kathleen Kennedy.
I know, right? Because she was obviously Spielberg's producer for years. And also a very good producer. I just want to point out. She's put together some amazing movies. And she walked past, not by chance, they set it up and she was like, what's that? And so she told Spielberg. And then they were hired to do this work, basically putting Phil Tippett and his team out of work.
Whoa.
That line of and a lot of people know this, maybe you even, I think we're extinct. That was his reaction to seeing that, just being oh my God, my life's work.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's probably held a grudge.
Well, no.
He hasn't snuck to those guys' workplace and with a fake can of shaving cream and put all their USB sticks in and snuck out with it.
Maybe he did.
Because by your logic, James, he'd be perfectly justified doing it, wouldn't he?
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying I understand his motivations, Mason. But anyway, so Phil Tippett, they actually got him back to create these dinosaur input devices, or DIDs, where basically he's doing stop motion with these electronic devices, which then transfer that kind of movement to the computer models. So they ended up using him for that. He also did a bunch of stop motion animatics for the scenes with the T-Rex and the cars and the raptors in the kitchen. So he didn't get completely put out of work, but still, this was basically the death of stop motion in big budget movies. Other than, it still exists, but you don't see a movie like this really using stop motion anymore.
Wow.
And it's your fault, is what I'm saying. That T-Rex scene, though.
Go on.
My goodness. Just incredible
Which
moments.
T-Rex? Which T-Rex?
It busts down the fence. You see it being pinged apart. It comes down next to the car and the pupil dilates when the light hits it. Obviously the toilet bit, Mason.
The toilet bit.
That whole sequence.
Was that lawyer wearing shorts the whole time?
I think he was.
Like walking shorts and a suit jacket?
Yeah. But don't you just think that whole sequence is just... It's phenomenal,
it is,
right?
Yeah.
It's probably better than anything else in any other Jurassic Park movie.
No, I don't know.
Or at very least equal to.
You seen Jimmy Buffett running down the street? He's got holding 2 margaritas.
He does have 2 margaritas. Yeah. But yeah, I just think there's so many wonderful sequences and they're clearly been mapped out perfectly to use both suits and then CGI. And you can now tell, if a raptor's jumping on a kitchen bench, you know what's up.
Do know what's
but
up.
I just think the way it transitions between puppetry and CGI is incredible. And it really does, I know we talked about aliens in the start, where I said aliens and you went, oh, really? It does kind of turn into aliens.
I'm doing it again.
It does kind of turn into aliens
for sure.
at the end, right? Yeah. And here's a fun little fact that I saw, probably on IMBD Trivia.
Go on.
IMBD Wong Trivia.
Oh.
So the big Velociraptor, it appears to only kill for fun in order to get revenge, right? Because she understands that she's been locked up against her will. So she's not the one that kills Robert Muldoon. She's the one ahead because if she had have started eating people, she would have been like, I'm full, I don't want to hunt. So she doesn't eat anybody. She's just killing people.
Interesting. Yeah. There you go.
I think that's terrific. Yeah.
You know what's terrific about this movie? So many iconic lines. Speaking of Muldoon, ooh, clever girl.
Yeah. What about the bit, that weird laugh that Jeff Goldblum does? You know?
Sure.
That's good. I like that a lot. Any more iconic lines?
The one where Goldblum. It's all Goldblum.
What about the? I was going to say, what about the big pile of shit line? That's also him, isn't it?
It's true. Or like, so preoccupied with whether or not they could. And think about whether or not they should.
Perfect.
I loved how Hammond just invited just a bunch of esteemed doctors to his place just to evaluate it. They just rinsed him at dinner.
The entire time.
This whole idea sucks. No sugarcoating at all. This is bad. You're a bad person.
Yeah, you're right. He actually initially had a death scene where like a raptor like clawed his chest. He dies in the book as well. He gets eaten by compies, but he's a bad dude in the book. Like he doesn't care about his grandkids. He's like, fuck them, whatever. You know, I kind of like the way they turned him into this, like, I'm the greatest showman, I'm Hugh Jackman. Do you know about the original ending to this? Then you can tell us.
I don't.
I'll tell you.
But I will. Here we go.
Okay.
They all team up and go out for ice cream. That's right. The humans and the dinosaurs.
Oh, that's lovely.
I feel like the dinosaurs die because they're lactose intolerant.
So in the original script, and I don't think this is good, and I'm glad they took it out, the T-Rex skeleton in the lobby, that was hooked up.
James Skellington.
The T-Rex skeleton in the lobby, it was, thank you, it was hooked up to like pulleys, and Alan Grant kind of puppets it to kind of kill the raptors, right?
Oh.
He like stomps them and like crushes them in
Is the living T-Rex involved somehow?
No, not at all. Oh. So Spielberg was like, we need to get the T-Rex back, and we're gonna make her a good person or a good dinosaur for the rest of these movies, and this is the turning point.
Sure.
Where it just happens to save these people. And look, there's been a lot of talk.
And then salute the American flag with its tiny little hands.
And there's also been, you know, a complaint of this movie, or people call it a mistake of like, how did nobody hear the T-Rex kind of sneak in at the end?
Tippy toes.
Or that.
Phil Tippy toes. It's on its Phil Tippett toes.
I was going to say John Williams' beautiful score, but yeah, that also. If you got that blaring, you're not going to hear it. Great score. That's my way of saying this was a great score, etc. and
Terrific.
so forth. Including also shout out to the sound design, which was led by Gary Rydstrom. So things like redwoods were cut down and hit the ground, and that's the T-Rex stomping noises. All the sound design in this is top-notch, Mason. Now, in the original novel, the armed forces of Costa Rica, who apparently haven't existed since like the 40s, they just come in and they carpet bomb the island.
Oh, no.
And that's how things end.
Yeah.
On this original island. That's why in the sequel, in the book, they have to go to Site B. I always thought as a kid, Mason.
Go on.
By the way, I loved this movie as a kid. It melted my brain. I always thought that the shaving cream can was going to be something.
Like it's Chekhov's shaving cream can.
Yeah, you see it dropped, it's covered in mud, you're like, oh, okay.
It was going to return in a sequel. See, I haven't seen the two Jurassic Park sequels, so it doesn't reoccur again.
Well, so Steven Spielberg put it in intentionally to put it in the sequel, right? Or like somewhere down the line, but the book goes in a different direction. However, the show Camp Cretaceous, it actually reappears in season 5. I don't think it plays like a huge role, but you know, it's there.
Someone shaves with it. Here's a question.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll find this out in subsequent movies. The man who was purchasing the embryos, does he reoccur again?
Wow.
Who's that? What's that?
That is a great question, and I have the answer.
Okay, who is the rival company? Do they return again?
I can't remember the name.
Terrific.
But so Cameron Thorpe, he was actually up for Ian Malcolm initially, right?
This is the actor.
The actor, yes. But for the latest movie, that character of Dodgson was recast, right? Now, the reason it was recast is because he spent about 6 years in jail as a registered sex offender.
Oh.
So, yeah. So I think that character appears in the sequel book, I'm pretty confident.
Okay.
But he's only now just reappearing again in the 6th movie.
Oh.
So there you go. Now, are you one of those guys that are like, I love dinosaurs and I hate all the inaccuracies in this?
No.
Well, Mason, there's so many dinosaur inaccuracies in this.
I don't care. It's irrelevant
so
to me.
for example,
I'm
right?
indifferent. Anything you say right now, I'll be indifferent.
Yeah. So you know how they're looking for amber? That's in the Dominican Republic, and no dinosaurs that were seen in this film that were from that era or area.
I don't care.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, right? Also, velociraptors actually the size of a turkey. Crichton actually based them more on the Deinonychus, but he's like, that's not a cool name, Velociraptor. Is that something you care about?
I mean, I think I already knew that.
Yep.
And it doesn't affect my life in any way, really. So.
Okay, what about this? They also probably didn't hunt in packs. Like, they'd maybe occasionally snap at the same thing, but they're just like, let's just, I don't know. We don't have to be friends. Let's not work together. They're like Komodo dragons, apparently.
Wow!
Yeah, there we go.
You got me.
I got him.
You got me. All right, hit me with the next one.
Here we go. How about this one? There's some of them supposed to have feathers, maybe?
No.
God. And then also, when we say that, people are going to be like, well, not technically. Not all dinosaurs maybe had feathers. Hey, shut up. No one cares. No one cares about feathered dinosaurs.
You're back on my
I'm on
wavelength.
board.
There it is.
Also, to be fair, they explain all these inaccuracies in Jurassic World. BD Wong's like, we just made what people wanted to see. And I like that. Just be like, people want to see dinosaurs? Yeah, here's one. That's close enough, isn't it? Shut up. Anyways, here's some green trivia.
Love green trivia.
This is where we talk about all the amazing facts that I've found on IMDb and various sources. I watch a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff, Mason.
Oh, yeah.
These are more extensive. They seem manic and, unwieldy and they don't make sense. But I trawl through a bunch of crap to get here.
And it hasn't affected your mental state at all, so
I
that's
don't
good.
think so. I don't think it has at all. The kid Alan Grant spooks at the start. There was a fan theory that that's Owen Grady as a child. The Chris
Pratt character.
Yeah, but it's not. Okay. Don't worry about it.
Terrific.
Ariana Richards, who plays Lex, was upset by the fact that an action figure of her character was not produced. Kenner made Grant Sattler, which it is, not Sadler.
I did look it up. You are correct.
I know I'm correct. Muldoon, Nedry got an action figure. Tim got an action figure. Malcolm got an action figure. She did not get an action figure.
Wow.
Yeah, at the time. Maybe she has since.
Because how would they advertise it? Lex with boring nerd action.
She does some good stuff.
Computer nerd action.
She grabs the wire when they're swinging.
Wire grabbing action.
Yeah, wire grabbing action. Thank you. What does Tim do?
Karate chops.
He does do a bunch of karate chops in this, yeah. You're right. If you examine the way the park is structured through the computer interfaces, Nedry didn't actually need to shut down any of the fences to get to the dock.
Oh.
But I guess he just did it.
Yeah.
Because you see people during
And you love that, don't you?
No, I think that's bad, actually. Maybe he is a bad bloke. I thought about it. But here's something that is good about him.
Maybe he could have just gotten a different job.
Yeah,
at
maybe.
Microsoft.
Maybe he could have. Probably would have been less dinosaurs. I don't know. I can't say how many, but less, I would say.
Probably a similar number of trips to a mysterious island, though. Do you know what I mean? Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying, James.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's something fun about Nedry. His clothing throughout the movie, it's eerily similar, and I would say on purpose, to a bunch of outfits in the Goonies.
Huh.
It's wild. And here's Sam Jackson's quote on returning to the franchise. I think about the dude from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Well, whatever his name is, I guess. His name's Ray.
Samuel L. Jackson's been in 100,000 movies.
I know. He's somewhere riding around on velociraptors with one arm. He's just on that island riding raptors.
Sounds good to me. See what I'm saying? If you don't see a character die,
Yep.
and why wouldn't you put Sam Jackson back in there?
I agree.
know?
And you know what? You'd put him in because he's a big box office draw. Speaking of box office, here we go.
Oh, nice. Good segue.
On a budget of $63 million.
Oh my God. That is peanuts these days.
What'd you get for that now?
Morbius.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Cinema's not always... It's not always hitting great heights, is it?
That's right.
You know? It actually made $978 million, but it's been re-released a number of times, so that's now well over $1 billion. Spielberg himself made $250 million on this movie alone.
Whoa.
And on top of that, merchandise-wise, over 1,000 individual deals that were created for this movie generated over $1 billion in revenue, including toys, making of books, yogurt, video games, fast food, bread,
Jurassic bread. Maybe like that tiger striped bread, that's...
Yeah, absolutely.
Feathered bread. Poison spitting bread. Looks like a regular loaf, but you squeeze the sides and it...
Did you come around on this? I feel like I was just spitting facts and nonsense.
Yeah.
Do you like this movie?
I do like this movie, yeah.
But do you see that it's incredible, right? At a turning point in cinema.
Yeah, but so are the Jurassic World movies.
Oh my God, Mason. I don't hate those movies, but these are not the same. They're not the same, Mason. That's a ludicrous thing to say. Anyways, next week, we'll be back for Jurassic Park 2, Jurassic Park The Lost World. Number 2.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, this is Caravan of Garbage. Yes, we do this every week. If you do have anything that you would like to see, please leave it below. If you do have a comment on something that we missed, that we didn't talk about, please write a comment.
Ian Malcolm's got 3 kids. Do we meet any of the 3 kids?
Yes.
Do we in the sequels?
There's one in the next one,
Whoa.
yes. That's right. Thank you to Ben and Lawrence for the edit. Also, if you do want to see these early, we have a service called Big Sandwich, which is like our private Patreon. We do movie commentaries, we do bonus podcasts, early videos, including the Caravan of Garbage videos.
That's right.
Fantastic.
It is fantastic.
I agree. And, of course, our podcast, The Weekly Planet, where we talk movies and comics and TV shows, comes out every Monday and a day early. There! That's enough plugs. That's enough plugs, and goodbye.
Grab that jam, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.